We're back at you and gloves off, and today we have our dear friend Jen from San Antonio, and she's going to come out here and talk about a march for our president on March
3rd. We're going to be holding our second annual March for Trump. This actually is a really big deal for us, especially with everything that's going on right now. We're also celebrating our Texas Independence Day.
Correct.
So this is going to be a really great celebration, a great weekend to get patriots to all come out. We're going to march for Trump on the 3rd, and then we'll have a big celebration afterwards where patriots alike can get together, network, talk, and it's just going to be a really neat event. You guys can look it up at second annual March for Trump, and that's on Facebook, and you're going to want to type in number 2, second annual March for Trump. And we've got patriots coming in from all over Texas. We've got patriots from Latinos for Trump coming in from California, patriots coming in from Resist Marxism out of Boston. We've got people flying in from New York City. So this is really going to be a neat march to celebrate our president and a lot of the accomplishments that he's been able to do so far in his first year in office. And so, you know, it's mainstream media doesn't really cover a lot of the accomplishments that President Trump has had so far. And
can you name me 5 right now to that you're proud of seeing?
For President Trump?
Yes.
I'm really proud of our tax reform bill. That was definitely hard work. Honestly, didn't think that he was going to be able to pull that off until the second year. I really like that he's able to drop taxes. I was really rooting for the corporate tax law to be dropped, so that's something that I'm really happy to see happen. I would have liked to see it go down to 15%, but but I'm good with what we've got. I think that's going to bring a lot of the companies that are banking overseas back over here to the United States, and that's, you know, a lot of good tax dollars that we need to get our deficit, you know, paid off or dropped. I'm really proud of the stock market. Aren't you proud of the stock market? I mean, and you don't see mainstream media covering that too much.
No, you don't. You don't see too much coverage. You know, you see the coverage of made up stuff and stuff that apparently he said, like this past week with his comment on shitholes and stuff like that.
I don't believe that he said S-H-I-T hole. Can I say the bad word?
You can.
I don't believe he said shithole. I don't think that he said that. There were Republicans that came out and said, you know, we don't recall him saying that. And another one came out and said, no, he did not say that. You know, we were in the meeting and he didn't say that. Now, one of the breaking news, and I can't confirm that, I mean, I haven't vetted it enough to say this is absolutely 100% accurate, but there is some breaking news happening right now that Durbin came out and met with Washington Post 15 minutes before he gave his interview, saying, you know, he said shitholes. Now, my opinion on that is some of these countries are bad. You know, some of these countries, like Haiti, where, you know, Trump did donate a lot of money, millions of dollars, to help doctors get over there and help some of these kids, send doctors over there to help operate on these kids and men and women and help them see again. Right. We don't see that in mainstream media. We just see, oh, he said it was a shithole and it's a terrible place. I'm
with you. I'm sorry for interrupting. I understand if he said that or not said that, or many of us feel that same way. And it's not the people in those countries.
Right.
Okay, the people are beautiful people. They're great cultures that they're there, and we have many friends in those countries. And what happens, it's the leadership, the government that's behind it. You can help them, and all of a sudden that money just disappears. Right. And that's not what it's all about. So I understand the concern. I understand that we're all mad at those governments that abuse of that. Mm-hmm. So what's your intake on that?
I agree. I 100% agree. I feel like when the Clinton Foundation started, they were giving a lot of billions and billions of dollars were being donated to Haiti, and it was to help rebuild Haiti. And where did that money go? You know, what was it, 1%? I mean, that was in 2010? That was the earthquake. We're here in 2018, and it's still a rundown, you know, place where you can't have proper resources. And we've taken in so many refugees that are still here, And I believe that what Trump was trying to say is, why do we keep on doing this? You know, I firmly believe that Clinton Foundation needs to be investigated, and we need to find out where this money went. And a lot of the Haitian people believe the same thing, only MSN won't cover that. But they do feel like they were sort of ripped off, and they weren't given all the donations that were coming in from Venezuela, the donations that were coming in from the United States. There was donations coming in from all over the world that they didn't get. And I believe that, you know, it is a shithole because of that. You know, and I believe that I don't think that Trump was necessarily saying that they're shitty people. I think he just meant, why are we continuing to bring these people in and not letting them use the resources and the donations that they need necessarily?
I'm 100% with you. Okay. Now, we have our problems here. I think we have very great people here in the United States, and when we get an influx of politicians that all of a sudden start taking for themselves or for their friends, you see that downgrade into poverty. You see the run down streets. You see the all the utilities. All of a sudden, they don't start putting money back into them. So you see potholes in the streets. You see water pipes breaking and so on and so forth. Why? Because it happens. It happens. Money is given by the federal government, and money comes in here, and all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, it's just the corrupt politicians just take it, and we, the people, have to start voting them out. That's why we live in such a great country, because we have the power to vote. But in some of those countries, you're told who to vote for.
Well, and then you have to also think about,
so it's a little bit different.
But yeah, and you're right, and I'm glad that you brought up politicians having a lot to do this when we bring these refugees in, and we're bringing illegals in. And they're saying, oh, you Democrats are the heroes for bringing these people in. They're counting on just votes. Look what just happened with DACA. You know, they came to the table like they were supposed to come to the table to meet with Donald Trump, with President Trump. They were discussing DACA, which is a serious issue, but they wanted amnesty for 2 million people. And we were just talking about 700 to 800,000 people here. Then you have chain migration, which they didn't bring to the table what was priorly discussed. And then you had the lottery, which I think they did away with the lottery, which was the only good part of the entire deal. But that doesn't mean that Donald Trump is going to sign the deal. When we're looking at our military here, we need the wall. There was a lot of negotiations that a lot of the mainstream media is saying this was bipartisan. This deal was not bipartisan. You know, if the Democrats were really serious about bringing something very serious to the table, and you really wanted DACA to have their amnesty, then you would have gotten very serious about that. It was almost a joke. I mean, are you just using them for the votes? I mean, this is playing with people's lives.
No, I understand I think seriously our immigration laws, our immigration procedures, and our policies, and how we needs to really be changed. I think we're archaic in what we're doing. I think I think if we had a visa program that would be not limited to that, and people can come and go, I don't think we'll have that much problems with illegal staying or overstaying their visas. Mm-hmm. If you come from a country that that you're actually in a lotto, or you're actually picked, you can get your visa, you cannot. You can get your visa, you cannot. That type of
non-vetting,
right?
Is
so
dangerous.
that type of visa, where it's so hard for a person to get a visa. Of course, when he comes here, he's not going to want to leave. Okay,
right.
So if you make it easy, like in France, who come over here and we can travel back and forth, there won't be that much of visa overstays. Mm-hmm. Okay, but they make a big point that there's a lot of visa overstays. Great, but there's also a lot of people that come here on their last trimester of pregnancy. They'll stay in a hotel, and all of a sudden have a baby, and all of a sudden it's a U.S. citizen. That happens not only from the Mexican side. It happens more so from the Oriental side. And it happens in California, where there's apartment complexes where they host Orientals that come in here and all of a sudden just give birth and leave. So everybody's pointing the finger at Mexico. No, it's a big array of countries that are abusing this. So we have to take care of that.
And you all should definitely look up a story that was just breaking, and I believe it was about 4 days ago, and they just raided, I believe it was a hotel. It was a couple hotels, and they were having Oriental people from China coming in and having their babies here so that they could be citizens. It was a big breaking story about 4 days ago. Don't have the paperwork right in front of me, but it isn't just coming from Mexico. It's coming from everywhere.
That has to stop. So, people here, we live in the border, and we're all come from Latinos families, right? Okay. Some of us are Mexican Americans. Some of us are Tejanos, and I was talking to my son the other day, and he was saying he was, 8th generation Tejano. Well, that's what we all are. We all came here. All our families are here.
Right.
But, so we have, it might hit us a little bit at heart, but we have to accept that our immigration problem and our laws have to be fixed. And it's not just now, because what happened to the amnesty in the 80s when they allowed so many to come in? That was going to fix the problem. Well, now we're back to a triple. Okay, so if we do this now, 10 more years from now, we're going to have to refix it again. But what we need to do is help them fix their government to kind of lift it up a little bit more.
I agree.
Okay?
How do you feel about them shutting the government down come Friday?
I doubt it's going to happen.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I feel like blaming the Republicans for something like that it's just wrong. It would not have been the Republicans' fault should there be a government shutdown.
Listen, I believe it's both sides are wrong, both the Democrats and Republicans. I think we have to place a term limit.
Oh yeah, I believe.
And if we do not place a term limit up there, we're going to have this problem continue and continue. It really doesn't matter whether if it's the right or the left. That problem's always going to be there. Okay? We tend to be a little bit more conservative. We care more about family values and so on and so forth. But we can't say, okay, we care about family and Democrats don't, because they also do.
Yes, they do.
But what happens is that we all need to start placing politicians in check.
And also, we need to be holding our mainstream media accountable for their false reporting.
The way I look at that, Jen, is if I see something like a program or a news station, I just stop watching it.
Not a lot of people do, though.
So that's the way I take care of that. We live in a capitalist state. I'm a capitalist, and what we need to do is, if you have somebody that as a program you do not like, you don't.
Yeah, I get it. Simply click off.
If a store says we're not going to sell to all these people that voted, we just stop going.
Well, let's think about it this way.
You know what I'm saying?
We're much older than the younger demographic. The younger demographic doesn't really know to tune out. They trust CNN, they trust MSNBC, they trust Fox, they trust all mainstream media. They believe this to be accurate, real news. But a lot of the older generations, we know, we kind of dig in, we do our research, we have other sources. And I really do side with President Trump when he says this is fake news. I don't know about you guys. I'm really looking forward to Wednesday's Fake News Awards. Remember, that's the 17th at 5.
Because
really curious to see what he's going to say or
I come here on. We're from Laredo, and you see the media here very much one-sided.
Yeah.
Okay, something happens to this one. So I grew up with that. So I know that the media here in Laredo is just a little bit more credible than a $3 bill.
Yeah,
understand? So that's the way I look at things. Okay, and apart from that, that's so you kind of have to take everything and do your little research on it and go forward on that.
I think my disappointment began when I started when Donald Trump became. I never realized how bad the media was. Even before, when Donald Trump won in the primary, I was like, okay, this is great. But then all of a sudden, the news just went totally left, and and at first, I even would believe a couple of those stories. This is true, it's not true, but it's just kind of spiraled out of control. It's just 97% negative news, and some of these reporters have came out and said, yeah, we're we're just reporting on all the negative stuff. I mean,
and let me
is this a diversion? I don't know, but it's bad. I've never seen it this bad before, ever, in all my years of life.
Let me tell you this. What would you say to the voter out there that's going to vote in March?
I say inform yourself. Look at different resources. Don't trust everything the mainstream media tells you. One America News Network is a really great source. There's a lot of sources that are, and you should post something on your site about some of the ones that fall more in the middle, that are not more right-leaning or more left-leaning. It's because there's a lot of really good journalists out there that really just give you the good, real news.
No, you're absolutely correct. Things that I hope change with this in the government with this presidency, and I think he's going to. One, we have to look over our immigration laws and change them, which absolutely. I think something's going to come out. Second, I think we need term limits.
A lot of people believe we need term limits.
And we need term limits throughout. Mm-hmm. Okay? And we also need for the government to start cracking down on many of these churches and organizations that all of a sudden, in the middle of Mass, they'll pop up a candidate and he has our blessing, and we need to push him forward because he is the only one, and he was sent here.
That is a very good observation. It's a good
point. And number one, churches, if they're doing that, you're going against your IRS standards and regulations. Mm-hmm. And if you're a 501c3, like most churches are, they should lose their nonprofit status.
We're a 501c3. Our nonprofit organization is 501c3, and we don't endorse any one.
You can't endorse any single one. You can't come out there and say the light of the Holy Spirit blessed you.
Yeah.
Because that is an endorsement if you're saying that up in the altar.
Well, let me ask you something. So what are your thoughts on all of these different congregations and churches coming out blessing Trump? Because there's a lot.
There's a difference. If I'm a pastor and I get a candidate and I go, I'm blessing you, me. I'm Pastor Paul Buitrón, I'm not. And I go up there, you know what? I'm going to bless my primo over there, Sergio Mora. I bless you, this and this and this and this. Okay? That's one thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm up in the church, I'm preaching on Sunday, and my cousin is running for intergalactic commissioner, and he comes out there and I go in there and I say, he's running for intergalactic commissioner and he has our blessings.
Right.
That's a different thing. Okay? Now, if we're out there outside in the middle of the hallway and say, you know what, we bless you, blah, 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 so and so, that's me. Understand what I'm saying? That's a difference.
Yeah. Well, I bless Trump.
That's my opinion.
I always pray for him. I must be under tremendous pressure.
I pray for him more now than I did before.
I think I posted something like that. If you guys want to check me out on Jen Loh on Facebook, but I'm always posting lots of really interesting articles, breaking news, and I just posted something very similar to that. I think that we're living in a alternate universe time right now. It just feels like everything is so off balanced, and I don't think I've ever before seen any president get this ridiculed. And not in my lifetime.
I remember Saturday Night Live before in the past, and they made fun of every single president. Period.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and political cartoons is just like the old nursery rhymes. It's something that comes out from the heart of society. Bring it forth, okay? And those have always been catchy, and I've always liked them because it tells you what people are actually feeling out there, okay? But there's a difference between mirth, banter, to insults, and hate. Understand? A lot of people might not have agreed to any of the presidents before in the past, but nobody was saying, we're going to kill him and I wish him assassinated and we're going to do this.
Yep.
That right there, you're like, that's kind of scary.
It is scary. I mean, you have Maxine Waters coming out saying, I want to take him out. You have Madonna saying, I wish I could blow up the White House. You have, I forgot the name of the other senator that literally called out for his assassination. You've got Johnny Depp calling out for his assassination. You have celebrity after celebrity after celebrity constantly ridiculing and insulting him. I don't remember anyone hating Donald Trump when he was on The Apprentice and his ratings were extremely high. You know, it's just... This is all a narrative. This is all the media working on the left as a narrative to attack the president. This impeachment it's moving towards their narrative to impeach him by saying he's racist, he's against immigration because he's racist. He doesn't. I mean, it's just constant.
Let me tell you,
it's hard to debunk it on something like mainstream media where they control.
Let me tell you what I look at this when I see all these actors coming out and saying something for that. Number one, what's their job? They're an actor. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they can get paid for becoming the tough guy. Right. Then they get paid for being the wimp. Then they get paid over here in this show for being the space superhero. Yeah. So they can get paid for doing a commercial, and they can get paid for making a false statement. So to me, actors are in a fiction world.
Right.
So when people understand that, then you can live life happy. Because all they are in entertainment. And when I see all this, it's just entertainment for them. It's just a comedy show for most of these guys over here. What gets me is this. They hate guns. They don't want to be near guns. But yet every single one of those actors has a bodyguard, an executive protection specialist. Mm-hmm. They don't want a wall, and they have huge walls. So it's kind of, to me, it's just entertainment.
Hypocrisy
exactly
at its finest. Yes, I agree. I think that... they live in these big gated communities where there's guards constantly around. They've got escorts, some entourage with celebrities, Kim Kardashian, Jennifer Lopez. I mean, most of the celebrities calling out to let them all in. We don't need a wall, It's like, but you guys are so protected.
To me, it's part of their show that they continue living. Some of those actors believe that they live in some script world. Mm-hmm. So they continue doing that. Mm-hmm. Understand? And some of them has been actors trying to get back into the limelight, and they're doing that.
And I'm so glad you brought this up. I wasn't going to bring this up, and I'm going to bring it up. Google, the CEO steps down. Okay? We just found out Google had been requesting their employees calling conservatives neo-Nazis and recommending they join Antifa. You just had a senator pose on Twitter with an Antifa booklet, in his hand. Did you see that one? Okay. Now you have Twitter censoring, telling their employees to censor conservative accounts. You have Walmart selling Antifa shirts. You've got what kind of looks like Pizzagate to me, because it's all the symbolism of Illuminati with the pizza. I don't know if you ever looked into Pizzagate. You guys need to look into Pizzagate. It's very interesting. And then it's just constant attacks on the conservative movement. You almost have to wonder, what is really going on here? Why are the conservatives, constantly under attack? I've never in my life been called a racist. Born and raised in Laredo. My mom is also Mexicana. I've never in my life been called a racist until Donald Trump won the presidency. And then, honestly, all of a sudden, I was going to rallies and I was being yelled at, "You Nazi, racist." I've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah. Let me tell you something that's going on. I've always said this. Whether you're from the left wing or right wing, it's still the same bird. Okay? Mm-hmm. So there's an old story that my uncles used to tell about a lifeguard that had one small arm and one long arm. Okay? And he wasn't really a lifeguard. He was just somebody that worked at that rec center.
And the pool area.
In the pool area. He worked there in management and so forth. Mm-hmm. They used to make fun of him. He said one time this young lad went into the pool and he was drowning. Mm-hmm. So everybody said, "I'm going to jump in to help him out." And he goes, "No, I got him." So the guy with the one small arm and people are going to make fun of us. And it's really a joke, but it's really, I tell you. So he jumped into the water and the person was here and he just started doing a circle. He never was able to get to him because he was one small and one long, right? And that's exactly the way this is going. You got the left doing a big circle, and everybody's just watching, and they're going to continue doing the little circle. Mm-hmm. And then later on, the right's going to get it and is going to be doing the little circle. So it's just...
round and round we go.
Round and round we go. We need to step off the little merry-go-round and say, you know what?
Get off the hamster wheel.
The carousel of loons has to continue. You know, we just say, let's go to the next ride.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're no longer in the carousel stage. Now we're in the bigger rides. Let's go down the roller coaster now. You know, understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So there's a time frame that you take your kids and they ride the carousel. Then later on, when they're teenagers, they want to ride the zipper and so on and so forth. And and then all of a sudden you get into your 20s and 30s and you just go around there looking at everybody else play the games. Understand?
I do.
And that's basically the way I look at politics. It's a big old carnival of different people trying to sell you something that is not. That's what made Ripley's and Ringley Brothers Circus so much money. They gave the audience what they wanted to see. So politicians have to sell each other. So some people sell to the loons, and some people sell to the people that kind of breathe air, and some people sell to the ones that breathe paint out of paper bags.
Yeah. Which
one of those are you going to get into? Understand what I'm saying? It's just a carnival trick. It's the lady with the beard and the big guy over here, and then you have the geek eating a frog, and it was just 5 cents here. You remember all those little sideshows?
Right.
That's the way I look at politics.
Yeah.
Every single one is trying to sell their point. And which one are you going to buy the best? At the end of the day...
the one that's the most honest.
At the end of the day, your conscience and your vote is what's going to let somebody in there. But we really have to look at our voting and the election process here.
I feel...
that's my 2 cents.
Well, I feel that... like this hashtag Me Too movement. I respect all the women that have come out, but I feel like a lot of politicians have jumped on board that, wagon there and used it to their advantage to accuse more people. And it's just gotten so mixed with a bunch of allegations that are really true. This really happened, to some throwing in their false accusations. So we cannot try our politicians in a matter of public court. I mean, this is not, that's why we have due process. And so I just feel, and there's just so many other little things happening with the left that they're just kind of toppling and coming out with. This is going to be a big deal in 2018 elections. Facebook is going to start heaving up on censoring. Twitter's going to be heaving up on censoring conservatives. This is going to affect our elections because everyone uses social media now. I mean, how many, besides watching mainstream media, we're going to our sources. We're watching our, YouTube subscription channels, which are being taken down. YouTube's doing it too. And it's just constant attack on the right. It's going to make 2018 elections really hard, especially in presidential elections in 2020.
I think from here to then, I think a lot of these guys are going to realize that they're losing a lot of money.
Let's hope so.
And a lot of these guys that are selling stuff, they're going to realize, wait a minute, the person that's spending $500 is no longer on board, but yet we got the guys that are spending $5 every 6 months. They're going to weigh things, and they're going to say, you know what? Let's change our habits if they're good businessmen. And if not, and I'm going to tell you one thing.
I mean, how many Democrats or liberals understand or even know what Facebook jail is? I haven't met many people that they're like, what is that? Is that a real thing? It's a real thing for conservatives. If we're posting articles or we're sharing information, you get banned from Facebook for 30 days. You're not allowed to use it. I just shared an interesting article on my brother's Facebook page about Hollywood. It was something about, I think, Oprah Winfrey, and they marked it as spam. And this is going to continue to get worse. It's going to progress and get even worse because what I believe is there is a narrative. They're trying to suppress as many conservative views as they can, and drown us out with more of the liberal views and liberal articles and liberal story headliners coming out. I mean, this is how you're going to affect the elections. It's proven. I mean, President Donald Trump won in the elections because of all the news that was being shared around social media. I don't think they had gotten onto it as much, but it's true. I mean, now they're coming out with Russia collusion, and Russia was purchasing, advertisement from Facebook, and that's how they were kind of interfering in our election. So, I mean, social media is a big deal. It is a huge deal. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of it. So I feel that going forward, it's going to get much worse for conservatives.
I think it's going to break, and I honestly think that in the next couple of elections that are coming up, especially March and November, there's going to be a lot of people that thought they were going to be on their seats. They're no longer going to be there.
Right.
So you're going to see a lot of these folks throughout Texas and throughout the United States that thought they had the community. There's going to be a silent vote that's going to be up there, and they're going to say, you know what, you're out of here. We're going to go with this guy. We're going to give him a shot now. And whether it's a Democrat or whether it's Republican or whether it's any of the other parties, they're going to start giving these new people a shot.
And I think that we should. A lot of it, we need a fresh new start.
Number one, like I say, in elections, we have to start looking at the elections offices, the election procedures. People stop trusting the FBI, so I think the FBI has to do a cleansing of their house.
I was going to write about this. I believe they're currently cleaning house.
And so if they do not clean house, people are going to lose trust in them. So something has to be done with it.
Right.
So I think it's the shot right now for the FBI to start looking into all these elections offices all over Texas, all over California, all over the United States, and going in there and saying, you know what, I'm going to monitor your elections now. And they put an FBI agent there looking at it. And if that happens, then you're going to start seeing some truth to people actually winning. Because I think people can win for such candidate, and all of a sudden somebody else wins, and you're like, how did he win?
Well, did you all see? Okay, so there was the guy that came out
after. I'm talking about local elections.
Local. Well, okay, but there was a young guy that came out after Moore lost the election, and he comes out and he's talking to this lady on news anchor, and she's interviewing him, and he's like, well, we came out from all over to come here and vote, and he's literally saying this on camera. This went viral all over Facebook. And voter fraud's a very real thing, so I definitely agree, and I believe it does happen in every city.
So we have to start cutting down what's on the rules and regulations. Like number one, all these 501c3s, churches especially, if the IRS goes in there and says, you know what, you violated the rules of a 501c3, you're no longer a 501c3. Sorry, you lost your tax exempt for bringing this candidate up on the altar, and you said you blessed him or whoever blessed him.
Right.
Okay, that's number one. That's in a form of endorsement. And if they do that, then you're going to see everybody kind of just like, okay, we're walking no longer on eggshells. I can do whatever I want. Now let's walk a straight line.
Yeah.
And I'm not only talking churches, other nonprofit agencies that are out there.
I would think that would be kind of intimidating too for like a church member to have to sit up there and say, well, I don't really agree with this person, or this person could be very liberal or very conservative. And that's not something they...
I'm here for the Word of God, not for you to infuse your ideas or whatever of whoever's coming in. And that's a no-no, that's just the way I think. Yeah. Anything else you want to tell?
No,
folks out here?
I just want to remind you guys to come out to our march. It's going to be March 3rd. It starts at 10 a.m. We're meeting at Woolridge Park in Austin, Texas. We've got people coming in from everywhere. I really want to see a lot of conservatives from Laredo, independents, libertarians. If you're a Democrat for Trump, come out. If you want to support your president, this is going to be a huge patriotic march. We got intersections that we shut down as we go along. We're going to march to the Capitol. Once we get to the state Capitol, we're going to have some really exciting speakers for you guys. They're coming in from all over, so we'll be announcing that on our event page. Remember, that second annual March for Trump. You can look that up on Facebook, and it's going to be March 3rd.
Awesome. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Tell me your insights. It's a pleasure always. And until next time, we'll see you here. Be safe. Until once more, take care.